Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's ElevateHER cohort project team presentation. This week we have a great presentation for you all. It's all about working on addressing the leaky pipeline of women in AEC careers, something that we think starts at the beginning, back in kindergarten or even before. So join me today. I have Shabani Bisson, Melanie Bocut, and Angel Farley, and they're going to talk about how they have put together some resources to involve girls and women from a very young age in the AEC industry. It's called She Belongs Here. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to them.
Thank you, Christy. Hi, everybody. I'm Melanie Bocut. I'm a Senior Communications Manager for Horrocks Engineers in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Hi, I'm Angel Farley, HR Manager for QK. We are located in the Central Valley in California.
Hello, my name is Shabani Bisson. I'm an Associate and Senior Project Manager with WSB out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Well, thank you for joining us today, and thank you to Zweig for creating this ElevateHER program and providing us an opportunity to present our She Belongs Here campaign. So during the kickoff meeting in March, the three of us selected one of 5 initiatives that the cohort group identified. The initiative we selected was mitigating bias in the industry. As you can imagine, this is a very broad topic to tackle. We heard so many stories from the cohort group, and the fact that the three of us from 3 very different backgrounds and perspectives in engineering, marketing, and human resources came together really made this campaign balanced and inclusive. As we started working on our campaign message of stomping stereotypes and why biases are present in the industry and how we were going to address this, I kept thinking back to the stories from the cohort and how I felt being an engineer in the industry at times, and how sometimes I felt like I didn't belong, that people were surprised I was the engineer on the project and assumed I had a non-technical role, or that I was the only one in the room at a conference or meeting. And it made me question, do we belong? This is how our She Belongs Here campaign message began, to change the visual in the industry for school-aged girls. Because of established traditional female roles, society does not often associate or expect women to be engineers or in roles ranging from construction to leadership positions. It's not necessarily that our employers or coworkers or clients think this, but it's the unconscious bias and expectations of what the female role is and should be from society in general. Of course, this is improving with diversity initiatives and STEM programs. And of course, our employers supported us in joining the ElevateHER solution. However, to further understand this issue, let's look at some statistics. So we've seen these statistics before from Zweig. 20% of engineering graduates are female. Of that, 11% are in the workforce, and 70 to 100% of females have thought about leaving the industry. So this is staggering and not proportional to the female population in the US. And it's further demonstrated that 9% of women are represented in construction engineering, and only 6% hold principal or ownership roles. So with so few females in AEC, what does this look like? How are the careers represented? Well, let's Google it to find out. So the next slide will show an image result of Googling civil engineer. You can see that they're mostly male, a few female, but also doesn't represent the diverse projects and service areas of the field. A lot of hard hats and construction sites. However, if you are a middle school or high school girl and you don't know what a civil engineer does, chances are you're going to Google it or search it, and this is what you might see. We know that confidence in girls drops in the middle school years, and by not seeing women in the industry and believing they can be in the industry, these images may send a message that they do not belong. The next slide is an image of construction manager. Again, all male, and we know that the construction industry has few female engineers. And then the next slide is the image of architect. We know that there's more women in this field, but it's not represented here. So we know that Google is driven by advertisements. Let's look at a real visual. So this next slide was taken at an engineering conference. There are 2 women circled here in the room. There are a few more in the front row that we can't see because maybe they know they need to be in the front to be seen. Or maybe this image represents that women in engineering that have left, typically after 7 years, are represented in this picture. So this is what we want to change, the visual. To provide the most impact, we need to start changing the visual with school-aged girls and boys. We need to see it to be it. We know that through increased awareness and STEM initiatives, girls are being exposed to these STEM careers in middle school and oftentimes elementary school as well. And many start leaning towards a career or path they want to pursue at the high school level. So our campaign, That She Belongs Here, will illustrate to girls that someone who looks just like them belongs in AEC careers.
So as a team, we created the She Belongs Here program. It is specifically created to provide a visual of women and mentors in our industry. It is meant to illustrate the industry and what positive social impact people make. We want to build the confidence in the girls so they believe that they can contribute to building the world in AEC, but also to build allies in young men so that they can also recognize that women belong as well in these AEC careers. So the ultimate goal is to create mentors for the next generation of AEC professionals. So let's present a career that girls may not have thought of yet.
As Shabani mentioned, during the ElevateHER kickoff, an engineer shared a story about having to repeatedly explain that she was the city engineer when people assumed she was there with the city engineer, perhaps in a support role. She stated, "I always have to tell them I belong here," and it really resonated with all of us. I think every woman in the industry could relate and has probably heard a similar story from a coworker, colleague, or friend. The She Belongs Here mantra was born, and we set out on a path to help women know that they belong in AEC. During our initial research phase, we gained understanding of the leak pipeline of girls passively leaking out of STEM and therefore AEC, and the fact that these leaks start to occur as early as 4th grade. As you can see, 66% of 4th grade girls and 68% of boys are interested in science. However, by their freshman year in college, those numbers drop to 32% for young men and only 17% for young women. This is a huge loss for STEM careers. We also learned about the driving factors that cause these leaks, specifically biases and the self-image barriers that can stem from biased interaction. After discovering the leaking pipeline statistics, we decided to create a program that began with girls in the 4th grade, but we started sharing our own stories, and we quickly knew that we had to start even younger, at the beginning, in kindergarten. Because in reality, that's where these biases start, and where girls need to be exposed to these careers and start to understand that they too belong. We know girls will have to see it to be it, so we wanted to create opportunities for little girls everywhere to see someone who looks like them in AEC jobs and start to imagine a future for themselves in AEC. It all starts with that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? We want girls to dream big and build their dreams in the AEC world. We want boys and teachers to be their allies and advocates. Through additional research, we confirmed that biases start as early as preschool, but they can be unlearned. It is easier to unlearn a bias at this age than it is in adulthood. This confirmed that we had to start at the root in order to make a lasting change. We must foster an environment where girls and really all children dream about pursuing careers in AEC. An environment where boys and girls can enthusiastically support girls as they dream about careers in architecture, engineering, and construction professions. And an environment where girls can build the confidence needed to achieve success in AEC careers. All these things must happen in order to reach our goal of having a workforce that is truly representative of the communities that we build. Our first deliverable is focused on early education, grades kindergarten through third grade. Our goals are to introduce AEC careers early to help girls relate to these careers because we know kids have to see it to be it. We also want teachers to be advocates and to help boys learn how to support girls' dreams of becoming architects, engineers, or construction professionals. We chose interactive games for these grades since they are the most common learning tool. We have designed career cards that can be distributed in packs similar to baseball cards. These cards will introduce careers that are not typically discussed in early education, especially not with girls. These careers need to be introduced early and discussed often so that girls everywhere can believe that they can build the world. As you can see, we included girls of all races and ethnic backgrounds so that all little girls everywhere can relate to these careers. We also built this program so it can be easily interchangeable with campaigns for people of color, people with disabilities, and any other groups that are underrepresented in AEC professions. We will also offer bingo cards as a fun, interactive game for children as young as kindergarten. This is a fun, easy way to help kids understand these roles in AEC and how they can build an amazing future in AEC professions. Melanie will demonstrate these cards at the end of this program overview. These materials and others are available via the link that is shared in the chat today. This link will also be housed on the Zweig website for years to come. Participating companies can adopt a school or school district they'd like to provide these learning materials to. Your company can also offer to provide a guest speaker for a classroom or offer for a class to have a field trip to your office. This could truly create a partnership between AEC businesses and education. This is our chance, your chance, to make a difference. The second phase of our early education campaign is geared at kids who are a little older, maybe 3rd through 6th or even 7th grade, depending on your community. During this portion of the program, we hope to build confidence in girls by helping girls understand their strengths and how their interests make them ideal candidates for AEC professions. Building confidence to help them push through the first major phase of the leaking pipeline without losing interest in AEC. We believe that allowing boys and girls to connect to AEC careers through shared strengths, hobbies, and interests will help girls feel supported and equal to their peers. According to the authors of the Confidence Code for Girls, we found that around 3 in 14 girls worry about failing. Between the ages of 8 and 14, girls' confidence levels drop by 30%. Girls experience almost 50% drop in their confidence that other people like them. These factors contribute to girls beginning to doubt their abilities and chances of succeeding in STEM. How can we combat this? Girls who see women in these fields will help see themselves in AEC. Again, you must see it to be it. Teaching boys to be allies early can help boys increase overall support and encouragement girls receive, especially in math and science. And again, we have to remind girls that they can build the world. We've chose to provide 2 resources for girls in this age category. One is an interactive game and the other is a commercial. First, we'll talk about the interactive game, which is the fortune teller game. We all remembered playing this in school and had daughters and nieces who played it also. This exercise focuses on the students' natural strengths, hobbies, and interests. Instead of colors and numbers, the fortune teller will have options for their favorite subject and hobby, which will eventually lead them to the AEC career that is most fitting to their personal strengths and likes. Our goal here is to reinforce strengths-based choices, not gender role-based choices. This could be a fun, interactive game that could evoke conversation about careers between students, both boys and girls, as well as their teachers and parents, hopefully sparking conversation about similarities in strengths and aspirations between girls and boys, again, building confidence in girls and allies in boys. Our second deliverable for this phase of the program is the commercial, which we knew we had to use a multimedia approach for this demographic. Each of us had discussions with women in the industry and collected hours of video and audio to create this campaign video to help girls believe in themselves and their future in AEC. As a cohort and as women everywhere, our goal is that all girls from Maple Grove, Minnesota to Sandy, Utah to Fresno, California, and everywhere near, far, and in between will understand that they can build the world, and we need them to build the world that represents them.
This amazing world we live in was built in the minds and by the hands of architects, engineers, and construction professionals. It is the one career that touches all aspects of modern day life and defines how we will live in the future. We need girls to help us build the world that represents everyone. Wouldn't you like to build the world?
I can build the world.
It was an 8th grade class that I took. It was 3D drawing, and the homework assignment one day was to draw a 3D building. I ended up loving it so much that I drew a 3D city. Once I started doing that, I kind of just never stopped. I just kept drawing more and more buildings, and these buildings turned into these little neighborhoods, and then the neighborhoods would turn into cities. And I got my degree, and now I'm building cities every day.
Well, I've always enjoyed math and science, and I knew that I wanted to pursue something that would use those strengths. And I love civil engineering in particular because I can see my finished product when my project's all done.
It was an opportunity to be creative and to problem solve, and then to ultimately provide a difference to the community. You can really see the results of that work, and I found that really exciting.
The flexibility and ingenuity that I have to use, I have to be able to navigate to different subjects a lot, and it's really fun to not always be doing the same thing.
I love, as a civil engineer, getting to work on things that people interact with on a daily basis while also getting to protect and improve the environment.
Well, I like that my job challenges me. One reason I enjoy civil engineering is that it helps me continuously learn new things and push past previous boundaries.
Don't give up on yourself. You're smart and you can do this.
That's what you'll face a lot. People will say, no, you can't do that. Well, yes, you can. You can do anything that you want to do.
ElevateHER. I can build the world.
Again, these resources are available on the Zweig website. We also have included a letter to educators in our program packet. Our intent is to help them understand how important these partnerships are and how they can build a future in AEC that best represents their communities. We provided the tools, but we need your help in building a better future for the AEC industry and the world. Lastly, our final phase of the program is built for older students, 7th through 12th grade. For this demographic, we wanted to focus on helping girls overcome doubt and build resiliency. We thought we would achieve this best by helping girls understand that they belong in AEC. A sense of belonging can change a person's confidence level. Some of you may wonder why confidence matters so much in STEM. Well, research shows that the substantial gender gap in STEM can be traced back to underrepresentation of women at various milestones in their career pathway. This is the leaking pipeline demographic graphic that we saw earlier. Research suggests that a lack of mathematical competence rather than lack of ability may be responsible for high departure rates in women. While it would be ideal to increase interest and participation of women in STEM at all stages of their careers, the findings indicate that if women persisted in STEM at the same rate as men, the number of women entering the STEM workforce would increase by 75%. For someone in HR, that alone could solve the war on talent. But it's not just self-confidence. It's also the effects biases have on a person's confidence. If girls are surrounded by people, teachers, and peers who believe they can be architects, engineers, and contractors, construction professionals, then they are more likely to pursue these careers. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking that girls have been told their whole lives that they can do anything and be anything, and this problem cannot still exist. I'd like to share with you a letter to the editor shared by Jared Malden. When Jared college, he became partners with Holly Jenneret. According to Jared, Holly had a mind for math and easily aced all of her exams. Even if she struggled with the concept, after a few minutes of mulling it over, she mastered it. Jared felt awed by Holly's math skills, but he noticed that the other guys in the class seemed less impressed. Some refused to partner with her, some interrupted Holly and spoke over her, and still others talked only to Jared as if Holly did not exist. Now, you may think that this letter to the editor was published in the 70s, 80s, or maybe 1990, but it was actually published in 2015, just 5 years ago. So, does this problem still exist? Yes. Do these biases contribute to self-confidence issues? Absolutely. If no one believes you can do it, it's so much harder for you to believe that you can yourself. Just like if you've never seen someone who looks like you do this, then it's so much harder for you to believe you can do this. We decided that the best way to increase resiliency in this age demographic was to produce a video that they could access on their phones. We used real and relatable content that could provide words of wisdom, words of affirmation, and encouragement so that when a young girl feels ignored, overlooked, or full of self-doubt, she can be reminded that she belongs here in STEM, about a woman having to explain that she was a city engineer and that she belongs here. I belong here feeling that too many women have felt in our industry. We decided to send the message to these young ladies that they belong. Not only can they do this, but they belong here in architecture, engineering, and construction professions, and not just in support roles, but in leadership roles. They belong on the front lines as CAD designers and construction observers, but they also belong in management roles and at the board table. We had a small team of 3 women assigned to this task of mitigating biases in AEC, but we had an army of women, men, girls, and boys supporting us. Each of us sat down and interviewed men and women who have been both at the front lines and at the board table. They shared their stories and gave us so much hope. We hope that these stories can bring hope, confidence, resiliency, and support to girls everywhere. We hope their stories can help young girls everywhere understand that they belong, but not only that they belong, they are welcomed in the AEC world and that we need them in architecture, engineering, and construction professions. Without women actively involved in AEC, we cannot have the dynamic workforce we need for the future of the industry. This is perhaps the most critical step in addressing the leaks in the pipeline to AEC careers. This is where young women's dreams can be overcome by settling, giving up, giving in, or choosing a path of least resistance. The future of AEC needs a dynamic and innovative workforce. We lose as an industry and as a society if we do not include the perspectives of women. It's time to stop losing this war on talent. It will be a long journey, but we will get there if we start now. Join us by being a mentor and sponsoring young women in your community. It is truly up to each of us to make a difference in our communities and in our profession. Share your She Belongs Here stories and create partnerships that will build a better future for the AEC industry.
We had a second commercial that did not play,
Yes,
but we will
Shivani
distribute a link to that so that you can also do that.
I'll actually play that here in just a minute. So how can you help us, everybody? This is our call to action. So we've taken the steps to create this campaign. We've made it very easy for you. We would like you to go to the Zweig website. There's a location on the website under activities where you can go and download the free tools. These tools that we've created are very simple and easy to use. How can you share them? Share them with your local chapters of educational programs like ACE Mentorship. Maybe there's opportunities for involvement for APWA or AIA. Think about your local schools, your friends, family, neighborhoods, opportunities where your firm can share internally and share with the community around them. Think about STEM fairs, junior achievement, future city competitions. Those are some of our visions where we think it would be very useful. So here's an example of the career pack. You download it from the website. It's a PDF, ready to print, ready to go. To make it incredibly simple for you, we've also included a template introductory letter. So feel free to add your firm information on here, your contact information, set up some tours, go to the schools and speak about AEC. Girls will never consider this career if they can't see themselves in it or they've never even heard of it. So go to the website, download the packets. There are 3 packets available, and I want to make kind of it clear what the differences are. So we've geared them towards the different age groups, as you saw previously. The career cards specifically are geared towards the education levels of the different age groups. So for the younger grades, we talk about what their favorite subject is, what their hobbies are, and why it's fun. So you get up into like the middle school, end of elementary school ages, and then you want to explain why, how they help build the world, what are the hobbies, and also their favorite subject as well. Now we know that high school kids, and when you're talking about ACE mentorship programs, we've got the cards. All of our team members do have the cards. We've provided an introductory card in the packet that explains what they are. The high school age is a little bit different and a little unique. We got support through Zweig Group on some actual salary data for 2020. We did our research on what college courses these students would need to prepare for, and also a little more in depth for what they specifically do, just because AEC careers aren't something that are presented to high school kids very often, just to make it very clear about what they can do and what goes into that. So like we said, we have the commercials that we've created. Let me see if I can get this one. This is the one we were missing.
As a kid, getting to go with him to work on Take Your Daughter to Work days. And I used to love seeing what him and his colleagues were doing.
So I had an uncle who was a geotechnical engineer, and I always thought his job looked really fun.
Took a mechanical drafting class. I always loved math, science, that kind of thing. And then you take one of those that is like an aptitude test. You know, it said, oh, you could be an engineer, you know. And I got really interested, and I'm glad I did. I really love what I do, you know, building communities.
This amazing modern world we live in was built in the minds and by the hands of architects, engineers, and construction professionals. It is the one career that touches all aspects of our modern day life. But these amazing careers seem to be mostly dominated by men, leaving out an entire creative potential coming from women.
Clearly, our industry is underrepresented from a gender and from an ethnic standpoint.
Society does not automatically associate or expect women to be engineers. Girls need to know that they can be engineers, that we exist in leadership positions, we are capable, and that we belong here.
He just liked my work ethic. If you have a passion for it and that person sees it, even when you think you can't do it,
you know, go for it. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to fail.
You can really do anything, even if you thought that it was too hard for you.
And, you know, it's going to be hard at times, but if you really want it, you have to go after it. You can do anything. Sky's the limit. So you have to work hard. You can do it.
She belongs here.
So that is the end of our presentation, and we'd like to just open it up to Q&A.
Awesome. And Christy, I think, is going to
Okay, everybody. Are you ready for me to read off some questions? We've already had quite a few of them come in during your presentation, so a lot to talk about here. The first one says, this is so great at showing girls that they belong in AEC as a recruiting tool, but how can we help retain women as they grow in their career?
Well, that would be the next phase of this. We're hoping that the future cohorts can build on this, take what we've started and build on it. I'm sure that same question was addressed in several of the other ElevateHER discussions as well. This is getting more people through that pipeline. That was our focus. Our focus wasn't retaining them. It's getting more women, more girls into the pipeline, more women with degrees and wanting to build careers in AEC.
A lot of people that we interviewed, they spoke specifically to a friend or family member that gave them the idea. That was the person that my uncle, my father, my grandfather was an engineer and architect in construction. So if we feel like the long-term goal here is to create mentorships, female mentors. So, but you can't do that if we're not increasing the number of women in the industry. That is the long-term goal. That is a next step. And heck, if we could have accomplished that in this crazy 2020, we would have loved that. But you got to start somewhere. So that's, honestly, a part of our call to action. The next steps is we need the next step support to build those allies and mentors so that more girls, more women, more young women, and then people are staying because they feel like they belong and they fit, their contribution is valid and needed.
Having a strong mentor is a key to retaining talent.
And I think as we create more awareness through this campaign, more women are going to potentially stay and then be those mentors.
Okay, our next question is, could the panelists please share why they chose to focus on this topic? What drew you all to taking this discussion to such a young age?
I think our research on the leaking pipeline had us start young, but then we all shared memories about being told we couldn't do things because we're girls, or not even knowing about AEC careers because we weren't exposed to it. And then further research found that, these biases start early, when in preschool even. Shabani, you want to add to that?
I think confidence is a big factor in this. We know that confidence levels drop in middle school, and so that's why, or even elementary school. I saw it when I was in school. I see it with my daughter, and so that is why we wanted to start this sooner. And I know that there's STEM initiatives that are being that start at a younger age, and so that was kind of the driver to have this target audience.
And as a small group, all with very different backgrounds, we also are parents, and we see it and have seen it in not only ourselves, but our kids. And bias, if you're going to tackle an unconscious bias, you have to tackle it at the source, and that goes straight to when you're a kid.
Yep.
We have another question that says, do any firms have a toolkit for career day speakers that is accessible to everybody in the firm? I feel like these opportunities are sporadic, and it would be great to post these tools for everyone to use.
Use ours. Use our toolkit. Seriously, take this toolkit and adapt it. We are providing it for free. Thank you, Zweig Group, for doing this. Download it, incorporate it, find a way. This is our call to action to everybody here today and everybody that watches this recording later. This is your opportunity to get involved. We've created the tools. Let's expand on them. Let's go some next steps and use them. Take them to the career fair.
That's awesome. The next one says, I wonder if you've thought of partnering with Girl Scouts to create a badge at each level. As a leader, I know that new badges in STEM have been added in the past 2 years for engineering, computer science, and aerospace. Also, partnering with girls clubs is a good outlet for getting programs to girls across the country.
Absolutely. We put together a massive list back when we met in March of all the potentials, and that's absolutely on their list.
We've got another one that says, do you feel like you belong here at this point in your careers?
We're all very lucky to work for some companies that make us feel like we belong. That's something we've talked about the entire time. We're very blessed in that way.
Yes, we're still here. Sorry, Melanie, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're still here. I mean, our company supported us in this. Like I mentioned in my intro, it's not that our coworkers or employers or clients don't, make us feel like we don't belong. I think it's just we're trying to create more awareness and change the expectation and traditional roles that are out there with society in general. So of course we feel like we belong. I think all of our companies supported us entering this program and are doing things that some companies aren't doing to promote women in the field for all ages.
And I've probably said this too many times in this program so far, and I'll say it again, but I've been doing the marketing and communications for AEC firms for almost 20 years in architecture, engineering, and construction. While I'm non-technical, I'm a support role. I would love to work with more women. I have all sisters. It kind of blows me away that I don't work with more women. And it's really fun when I do get to work with really talented female staff.
We have somebody else who said, these are great. You mentioned that these can be adapted to focus on diversity and inclusion. How would we do that?
So we did, go ahead. We did start with representation. We wanted to make sure there was diverse representation. Because, clearly you can look at a firm and say, there's not a lot of diversity here. So our cartoon visual is meant to be diverse. Now, adapt it. Your cover letter could be changed a little to say, hey, this isn't just, we're a starting point of females in AEC, but also diverse cultures. There might be a school that is highly diverse, that they've never really pushed their STEM program hard this way, and especially to girls. So we imagine it's very adaptable. I guess the sky's the limit on what we can come up with and what people are willing to contribute as well to help us do that.
We have another comment that says, I love what you have put together. How will the three of you stay engaged with this effort to maintain the momentum? Your passion is inspirational.
Oh, well, thanks for the comment, Trevitt. How will we stay engaged, ladies? We had to kind of talk ourselves down from reaching out to every school district in our state at one point.
Yeah.
We're very committed.
This team, we were very fortunate that we're a small group because it was easier for us to maintain contact through, email, texting, and weekly meetings to stay engaged. And, we asked today if we can be involved next year to go the next steps with this program. So we fully intend on staying engaged as well.
Yeah, we want the next cohort to take this a step further and expand on it. So we would love to be part of the next cohort as a mentor or advisor.
Yes.
Our vision is big.
It is.
We have someone who said, the videos are great. However, why are all the interviewed women engineers? Could you not find female architects or females in construction? Again, representation matters.
It does. I totally agree. In trying to get these videos recorded and getting them done timely, those were the resources we had. Next step, next group. And in fact, non-COVID times, we'd like to see real life interviews. Our interviews were all done over the phone, over Zoom, over Teams, GoToMeeting, and we went with the people we could get. So there are a lot of women in architecture, fewer in construction, and next steps, we would love to include more people, absolutely. But no, you're right. We kind of had to work with what we were able to do. So next steps, next team, we'd love to see this go further.
We have someone else who said, is there a better way to say that women are underrepresented in AEC careers rather than saying male dominated? I really dislike saying male dominated when recruiting.
You're not wrong. I said that and I caught myself saying it so many times. It's not wrong. But absolutely, we can change the terminology. And I don't mind. I don't know how the rest of the team feels, but. Anything else?
Anybody else?
Nothing else.
Okay, we have a comment here. It says, greetings, properly raised millennial male architect here. I'll be the first to smack down other males acting out of line in the AE industry that I love. That said, should I literally be aiming at a 51.2% female sex ratio for my firm? Or would you guys promote a more nuanced contextual approach based on currently available female applicants?
Listen, you can't hire people that don't apply.
Yeah.
That's clear. Obviously, you can't hire people that don't apply. You can't go out and hire, say, take one female applicant over the other 19 male applicants just because you're upping your ratio. That's a long-term goal, though, that our program is geared early. And I'd love to solve the problem today, and I know a lot of other groups have tackled the today problem. But this is a long-term program, and I hope that when you own your next firm, and you're a principal, and you'll have more female applicants, and then you'll have a more diverse pool to pull from. But I wish it was a today problem or that we could fix today. So hopefully this just helps that long-term goal.
We do have a comment here back to that male-dominated terminology. And someone said, it's so interesting. I just heard a woman in the drone industry refer to it as male clustered versus male dominated, since dominated denotes governing and in control.
Ah,
yeah. Nice.
Look, I'm not going to say this industry isn't male dominated when a lot of firms leadership and ownership is male. It's men. Provide opportunities in your firm for women to have ownership and leadership positions. And I mean, that's one step, but it's funny to hear that in male clustered. It's not wrong.
No.
We also have another comment question on here that says, great work on this. Curious if you work alongside or in partnership with already developed similar programs, think Girls Inc., or if your intent is to work separately as a standalone program.
We have not partnered with anybody so far. There's a world of opportunity to do so in the future. Thank you for making the suggestion. We can look at that and see what ways we can partner in the future. We kind of just did this in our COVID silos.
We also had somebody who asked, did you work with education professionals to help develop the information for each age group? I know you all had some really good insight on how each age group was going to respond to these cards, based on their typical, emotional maturity and what we know certain age groups go through at those time periods in their life.
Well, I know that I spoke with friends of mine who are teachers. Melanie, I think, has a sister, so we got some insight. At the beginning of this, we thought we were going to have a strong partnership and, work with a group that had a lot of input. But what teachers have gone through during COVID, we didn't feel like we could add more to their plate. So we got the information we could in some personal conversations. What do you think of this? Would this work? That kind of thing. But we'd like for the next group next year to really engage teachers more, so that we can get them the tools they feel are best for their demographic.
I think part of it too was just knowing what message we wanted to send girls with these career cards, knowing the work that we do, and knowing, at least for Melanie and I, we have girls at the middle school level, so we know, what the key interests are, or what language to use in those career cards, and certainly research them on the internet as well. But I think we did the best we could with what we had, and certainly if someone has suggestions to change it for their particular school or program, that's great.
We have another question that says, this is a great project with great deliverables. Thank you. If you had the ear of the school system, what would you tell them about careers in AEC?
It's not just being an architect, being an engineer, and building something. There are all these other roles that we specifically created the career cards to show. For example, oops, I'm still screen sharing, aren't I? For example, if you can see on this is Eva, the environmental scientist. This is an AEC job. We have safety managers, we have superintendents, and more than just architect, engineer, and contractor. Land surveying. Many safety roles exist in all these firms that can provide a good role for kids to think about in AEC. Inspectors, just that, if we could explain to them there's a lot more than just the simple AEC, there's a lot of exciting things that can go straight to, like Angel brought up a lot of times, go to their strength-based career choices.
And I think our message of girls can build the world means that everything you see around you is built by people in the careers in general of architecture, engineering, and construction, and that there's various careers to make that happen, and girls need to be a part of that.
We have some comments now that are related to that. That one says, for the 2.0 iteration, partnering with an education class in college to enhance the deliverables for each age group will also get future teachers on board. That's a great suggestion there.
Fantastic idea.
Love it.
I also wanted to share with you guys a couple more comments that we have from people. Saying we've got people already saying that they shared the cards with their entire firm, and that they sent to family members and they already downloaded them. They think that they're super cute.
Yay!
Yeah, very nice. Oh, we also have another suggestion on the terminology there, which is insufficiently women populated.
There you go. I like that one.
Me too.
We have another question here. I'm not sure if we can answer it, but I'm going to put it out there. And if anybody can, please, feel free to type it in the chat, or if you guys can. And that asks about Canada. Can anybody comment on where they think Canada stands with AEC? I'm going to guess that probably means, are they facing similar challenges also with their younger women being interested in the industry?
I never saw statistics for Canada though. Like when we were doing research, we used your guys' research and then Googled the heck out of it. And honestly, I don't think I saw Canadian-based research. I did see UK-based research.
Yeah.
And what I saw, the numbers weren't as bad, but there's still a gap. There's still a wide gap in the UK, but I didn't see Canadian, and it would be interesting to know, being our neighbors.
I just want to comment about the commercials or videos on YouTube. Now that kids a lot of them are learning online, these are great videos to show as part of the classroom. It seems that a lot of their learning is video based, so that's another key tool along with the career cards, bingo card, and fortune teller to provide the educators.
Feel free to share it on your social media, share with your friends, family, colleagues. We just have to start somewhere with representation, showing them you got to see it to be it. And a lot of girls growing up see female role models as teachers, healthcare professionals. Are they seeing these careers? Maybe not. This is a great opportunity to do so.
We have a few more comments on Canada here. We have somebody who said, I used to work for a large Canadian company, Hatch, and they had initiatives to hire more women. So I believe they're probably facing the same issues. And we also had somebody who said, I'm from Canada and I'm shocked at how many people are stuck in the 1940s. hence the question. So sounds like it's probably, you know, similar to what we know about here in the US. Oh, we just had another question pop up. This person said, would you propose holding the construction industry to the same standard as the way less physically daunting and dangerous architecture and engineering fields? If so, may want to help nuance this to our young ladies getting into either side.
So I was at a construction company for about 5 years, and I do know that there are certain positions and job roles that require things such as grip strength and the ability to lift and carry 50 pounds, right? That is something that I think women and girls think about: construction, strength, those things. But there are many technical roles in construction that don't require that much. Think about construction management, think about estimating, think about safety. I was fortunate to work with a few female safety managers in my last company. And yeah, there are definitely roles. We have to show them those roles. Like, a young woman may say, construction, no way, you know, because that is a thing, a physical thing, correct? You know, physical requirement. But there are many roles in construction that don't require that. In this program, maybe we expand on it and we show those specific things so they can know and understand that it isn't, you know, considered unsafe or physical, that there are lots of jobs that women can do. And I know project engineers and superintendents that are women and that 100% can do it. A lot of women have strength, physical strength. So opportunity to show it.
That's great, Melanie. Very, very true.
Mm-hmm. I hope that answers your question. We just have high hopes for this industry. We'd love to work with more women.
Okay, well, if we have no more questions or comments, we'll start wrapping it up here.
Thank you so much for attending our presentation, everybody. We really appreciate it. It has been a pretty crazy 7 months or so of virtual preparation. And while we're sad we didn't get to present in person, this is the next best thing. So thank you for attending.
Well, thank you so much to the presenters for She Belongs Here, and thank you to all the attendees for watching and participating and asking so many good questions and giving so many good comments. Again, feel free to check out the website, check out the awesome deliverables that this group has. You can download them, and if you have any questions, just email us at ElevateHER@zweigroup.com. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, team, and thank you everyone for joining. We do have one last presentation next week, same time. I hope everyone tunes into that one as well. Okay, I'll go ahead and end it. Thank you guys, and good job, team.